Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Thanksgiving? I'm doing good. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link will be in the description of this video. So what's up? How are you guys doing? I hope you're having an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope those of you who can and are able to are spending time with your loved ones and understand how truly amazing it is to have loved ones and people to share these times with, because not everybody does. Shout out to everybody who's doing time, who's away from their families. I know that you are the reason why you're away from your families. It is a consequence of your actions, but at the end of the day, you're still human. And I was there, and I was human, and I had feelings, and it was always important for me to know that somebody out there cared. So shout out to everybody who's locked up during this holiday season. Free up to you guys. So I know that we talked about addiction in the last video. We're bringing it back to prison. And I want to talk about fighting, the importance of fighting, because let's be real, if you're doing any substantial amount of time, you're probably going to have to get in at least one fight. A mistake I've seen a lot of people make, though, is underestimating or overestimating the person that they are beefing. Not typically overestimating, underestimating the person that they are beefing, and not knowing their opponent. Now, the important of this is, it's not only so you understand who it is that you're beefing, but also what kind of consequences can come after. And when should you fight? When is the ideal time to fight? We all know that the message on this channel is to get home, be safe, stay out of trouble, do your time. But sometimes you just can't do that. There's a situation that forces your hand, and this video hopefully will help prepare anybody going in for that situation. Now, there's nothing for me to say. I can't say what you should do if it comes down to getting into a beef in prison or jail. I can't tell you. Only you know what feels wrong to you, what affects your pride in a way that you feel you must defend it. Now, in most cases, I would say walk away from it, man. If you're not in there acting like you're the toughest guy in the world, telling everybody you're going to smash or stab people, you're the biggest gangster on the road, you shoot man for fun. If you ain't talking like that, and you just tell people, look, I'm just trying to do my time, I ain't looking for any problems, and you just go and just do your own time, most of the time you're going to be fine. But there is that circumstance where somebody just feels like you are a problem for them, and they don't want you on the block. Or you're there, and because you're there, they might feel like they can take liberties on you. Maybe try to punk you for your food. Maybe try to just punk you, make you the butt of the jokes. These things happen, and sometimes your hand may be forced. Because for some people, there is not the option of running off a range, right? Of just saying, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to run off the range. Or being punked time after time, because some guys will say, just turn the cheek, right? You can't do that in prison. You let one guy punk you, people are going to hear about it, more people are going to want to come punk you. You have to draw the line at some point. Now, I will say this, first and most important thing, know your ops. Know your beef. Know the person you're getting it into with deeply. Like, unless it's a spur of the moment, bang, 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 fight quick. Know who your opponent is. First of all, you have to understand if getting in this fight is going to make your life in danger on the street. Because there are some guys, man. There are. You fight them and possibly knock them out in prison, and then you ever see them on the street, there's a lot of guys that are like that, right? And then there's guys that just want to fight. That's all they want to do. They're prepared to fight to the death, right? But those other guys who don't feel that way, that feel like a loss is too much to take, and they're going to go get a weapon. Like, I fought a dude, I punched him twice in the face. He quickly realized that he wasn't going to be able to fight me. He quickly ran for a frying pan, and I was I wouldn't say fighting for my life, but it became a much, much more serious situation for me, right? And I'm going to tell you guys a story. So there's this dude that I knew, and I didn't see the situation, but I talked to him about it, and I heard about it through my years in the jail. Big native dude, okay? Guy's crazy. And he can throw kicks, he can throw punches, like he's a problem, this dude. And I guess because he's a problem and a bit of a bully, he's high energy, he can get on people, kind of a ball breaker. I'm sure that for a lot of people, it can rub them the wrong way, especially if he's like not a fan of that person. He can take liberties. Like I knew this guy, Michelangelo, we're not going to say his actual name, but he was like a bug, right? He'd run around the yard. I told the story of this guy, right? This guy would spinning roundhouse kick him in the head sometimes. He'd go up and pretend to spar with him and whoop-ah, just roundhouse kick him in the head. He's kind of a bully a little bit. So he was on range with this dude, and I guess this dude didn't want him to be there, wanted to get him off the block, and felt like he had no other choice but to attack him. So what was his plan? He's going to wait till the man's sleeping, middle of the day. He's going to go, he's going to fucking smoke him in the face with a rock and a sock. He'd bring back a big rock from the yard. He's going to put that rock in a sock, smoke him in the face, and then cut, right? The only problem is he did not understand his opponent and what was going to happen if that one didn't knock him out to the point where he could continue to get it done. And I'm telling you, man, I've seen it happen time and time again. Guys beef, they don't want to take it any further than just a physical altercation, but they don't understand who the person is that they're fighting, and that person is fighting to the death. He's going to get a weapon, a bat, a shank, 4 of his homeboys, whatever it is, to ensure that you lose. Now, he never thought about this. This dude never weighed the consequences. So what happened? He goes into the man's cell, man's sleeping. He, boom, smokes him in the face with a rock. What happens? He Undertakers, and just loses his fucking mind. Just snaps. But he runs out his cell, locks the door, runs down the block, runs into his cell, locks the door. Now, at this time in Joyceville, there were no cameras on the ranges, right? So if you just opened a couple doors up the range, you obscure 90% of the view. The coppers aren't going to see what's going on, and most of the time don't really even care what's going on as long as you ain't stabbing anybody. But this situation, they would have cared, because this man is a madman. So listen to this. The man tells his homie, yo, send me one of the butter knives, because back in those times, there was butter knives. When I first got to Joyceville, there was lots of butter knives. Everybody got one, a butter knife, a fork, and a knife. They realized that guys could sharpen those things down and make dangerous jiggas, so they took them out. But most ranges had 1 or 2 butter knives because you can pry the doors open, right? If they, like, say, it's because it's not double locked, right? When the guards come in, they double lock that shit closed, right? But during the day, when they pop it open, if you close your door, it'll lock, but it won't be double locked, and you can jimmy it open, right? So the man tells his homeboy, yo, give me a knife. He jimmies the cell, runs down to the man's cell. Now, keep in mind, this man thinks, I'm going to smash him in the face with a rock. He's going to knock out. I'm going to break his face. Didn't understand the guy was a total savage and a total monster and is now coming to kill him. So what did he do? The man is jimmying the man's door with a big, dirty shank, telling the man, I'm going to freaking kill you as soon as I get into that cell. And meant every ounce of that. No cap in his rap. I guarantee you that. I know the man. He's a psycho, okay? So as he'd like jimmy the cell open, the man would pull it and pull it back locked. So picture this. You're not really like that. Like, you ain't a puss. You ain't soft or anything, but you ain't really trying to kill anybody. Now, you've smashed a killer in the face with a rock and a sock. rage. You have inspired rage in this man. So now this man is standing at your door with the hatch open, Jimmy in your lock, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, boy. Ugh! I'm sure he's just losing his mind. And I'm sure Buddy was tripping. No negative ending to this story, though. Both of them were saved, because not only did the guy get saved when the Fed came on the range and took him off the block, but the next man also got saved and stopped from catching a murder beef, because 100% he would have poked that man up. I know the man. I know that dude would have been lucky to leave that cell alive, and that next man would have been facing 10 plus, possibly a life sentence, and just destroyed his whole life. If you're gonna beef in jail or prison, you have to understand what it is you're getting into. Are you gonna have to duck bullets when you touch road? When you go to every other jail, are you gonna have problems with all these guys because you attacked a gang member? Were you standing up for yourself necessarily, like, because everybody has the right to stand up for themselves, or were you attacking somebody? And when you do attack somebody, are you prepared to go all the way? Because if not, then you probably shouldn't be attacking people. I learned that lesson. I told the story when I fought the dude, the gay dude, lifer guy. I didn't think he was going to be a serious beef at all. And I ended up basically having to fight for my life. And the man would have went to a range and got a shank if it wasn't for me having a 1-2 homies there and being able to cool the situation down and explain myself. But at the end of the day, there was no guarantee that that dude wouldn't shank me or still shank me if I ever saw him in the prison, despite the fact that we actually were kind of cool after. It don't matter. People hold on to things, resentments. Once you've done something like that, like those dudes, the 7 dudes that jumped and stabbed that guy on my range, okay? Despite the fact that that guy came back to the range and said, yeah, I'm cool. You don't know what that guy's really plotting. He could have tried to kill every one of those guys. You never know. And that is a risk that you take when you get in a fight in jail or in prison. So think about it before you fight anybody. Now, there's certain things you have to fight for, man. You have to fight for your food. You have to. But chances are the guy who's taking your food ain't going to be some super high up dude. Bullies usually don't have a ton of support. They're a bully for a reason. Of course, there's circumstances where you'll be on a range and you just won't see nothing. And you'll have to go and try and talk your way into getting stuff. Like in the Dawn back in the day, they just wouldn't put the shit out at all. Right? And they'd give it to people later on when nobody's paying attention to what's going on. You wouldn't even know unless you were in the now and part of the man now. But you can lose your life really fast because of a fight. I told the story. Guy got in a fight defending his carton of cigarettes, right? He's fighting the dude. Bang, bang, bang. He hits the ground. Buddy starts booting him. Boots him to death. Just snaps. This is jail. This is prison. And nobody helped him, despite the fact these guys are supposed to be his homeboys, right? This is also a fact in prison. You can't rely on anybody else. So anytime you're going to get in a situation, you have to understand, despite the fact you may have guys behind you saying they're going to be there, you have to think, if I make this move, worst case scenario, I could be ended up riding this out for myself. Is this something I can handle? Enough times I've seen homeboys leave their friends because they're scared. Because they're scared. The guys that they got a beef with are just way, way, way sicker, gangster, tougher, more killer than they are. And they really are just like, sorry, bro, you put yourself in the situation. You go to prison alone. You come out alone. When you're there, you have to make decisions assuming you could end up alone. And beefing is the riskiest thing you can do in jail. One trip, whoop, you fall, boom, you take a boot to your head, You don't know if they're going to stomp you. I've seen so many stompings over stupid shit. Obviously, I share my stories with you guys so you don't have to go through these things yourselves. If I could snap my finger, nobody goes back to prison. Nobody's addicted to drugs. Nobody's fighting inside or outside. That's what I do. But that's not a reality, especially in 2022 and coming up to 2023. It's only going to get harder out here. We know that Ribs is touching, and they're only going to be touching more. And that's going to land some people in prison. So hopefully my my videos can help people understand what they're possibly looking at if they're going to prison, or what to expect when they get to prison. And so when they do get to prison, they don't fuck shit up. The chi, the energy of the range coming in, having zero knowledge or understanding of what could possibly happen. And for those guys who have turned their life around, positive motivation, man. That's what we're about. So ultimately, my number one advice would be, if you can avoid a fight or a beef, do that. You know, without making yourself look like a total bitch or a total waste man. I would try to do that. You know, that's the healthiest way to think. But ultimately, the smartest way to think is, I'm going to move normal. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make somebody want to hurt me, attack me, stab me, $150 me, jump me. 17 years, man. I never had nobody try to do anything crazy like that other than a handful of times, right? When you move right, people treat you right. But there are exceptions to that. So be prepared. When you get to prison, work out. You got nothing but time on your hands. There are no excuses. If you can improve yourself in one way in prison, guaranteed, that is your physical health and shape. That is the first thing you need to start working on. If you have bad cardio and bad energy and you're just and overweight and tired all the time, and a beef does happen, you're cooked. A riot does happen, you're cooked. You won't be prepared. You won't be ready. And guess what happens to those that aren't ready? If you could please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So don't fight ultimately. Number one, try not to. But if you do, understand who you're fighting and understand how far you have to take it. Some people, if you're going to beef them, the only option is to send them out on a fry basket. Meaning, he's so fucked up, they're not going to let him stay. He's taken out to the infirmary, and he ain't going to come back to that joint. If you're gonna take it there, man, understand who you're taking it there with, and understand how far you must take it. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark.